The final question on returning the Elgin marbles and all these other things. Given now what you're discussing there, what's your view on that? I mean, do the artifacts, should we return them? You know, the things that we collected during the Empire, should they go back because we can now do them virtually? Or do we keep them and just build them virtually back where they came from?
Well, being a sort of middle of the roader, I'm not firmly on either side. I mean, my solution to the Elgin marbles, which I'll put on air so that someone can pick it up, is simple, which is you make we used to have some, I think, Maudsley casts or someone's casts of the great Inca or Aztec monuments in our museum. And they were exact. You know, you couldn't, if you put them side by side, you couldn't tell the difference with the originals. We had them. My solution to this is that you just make an exact copy of the Elgin marbles, and then the Prime Minister of England and the Prime Minister of Greece toss a coin as to who's going to have the real one and who's going to have a copy, and no one is told. You do basically what they've done with Cromwell's head in one of the Cambridge colleges, which is secretly buried in Sydney, Sussex, in the chapel. No one knows where it is because of fear of someone coming and digging it up and doing something nasty to it. So only 2 or 3 people in the world know where Cromwell's head is. So only 2 or 3 people know which is the real Elgin marbles and which is the other one. And you know, you can go on guessing and having fun. So that's the Elgin marbles. But with other smaller things like the Benin bronzes, which are much discussed at the moment, and the Cambridge Museum, my museum, has a number of Benin bronzes, among other things, and Hawaiian feather capes and so on. They're worth a huge amount of money. They're irreplaceable. The argument against returning them, basically, to my mind, is that is the argument even with China. If I send my archives to China, you just need one palace revolution. You just need one change of minister and it's gone. And it's the same in many parts of the world. The reason why we've kept things so successful in this country is that we have a fairly continuous political system and a fairly strong view of heritage. And there are so many stories. I mean, I know so many stories of, for example, artifacts that have been sent to Indian museums or things like this, and they just disappear, or the white ants get them or something. So basically, the best of equipped and good museums in some country, and you send it there and everyone's fine, it goes well for 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. But it is definitely less secure. So the solution, to my mind, is the compromise of having as much digital, 3-dimensional, which is what you can now do, images of it. So you can hardly tell the difference. But you do send back. I mean, most museums, my museum, has duplicates or very similar things, so that these places that produce them and which would value them highly should have a good collection of original objects which they can see and know are the real things. You don't need the whole set of them. So with the Nagas, for example, in the Pitt Rivers, they have hundreds and hundreds of Naga objects. And if you sent back 1 in 10 or 1 in 20, and kept the rest, but that would fill a very good display in Nagaland, and you would then have images of all the rest of the collection. And then if that 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 is lost, mankind is not lost. Right. And indeed that's a good thing, because who knows when the British Museum might blow up. So basically distribute the objects a bit more fairly than they are now, but not just because we stole or bought them from there, return everything just like that, because I think that would be foolish.